When you wake up in the morning, there's a quiet moment before the world rushes in. In that instant, you have a choice: to rise with faith or to stumble into the day with doubt. Most people never realize the power hidden in that moment. They allow routine, fear, and old habits to dictate the rhythm of their lives. But you're not most people. You are not born to drift without direction. You were created with a mind that can shape reality, with a spirit that can command circumstances, and with a purpose that refuses to be silenced. Think about this. Every great achievement in history began with a thought, often just a whisper in someone's imagination. Napoleon Hill reminded us that whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. That is not a slogan. It is a spiritual law. And yet, so many live as prisoners inside the cage of their own doubts. They think small, they expect little, and they wonder why life gives them crumbs instead of a feast. But life does not hand out miracles randomly. It mirrors the strength of your inner conviction. You may be walking through a season where fear shouts louder than your faith. Perhaps bills are piling up, relationships are falling apart, or your dreams feel distant and unreachable. But let me tell you something with absolute certainty. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck is not luck. It is not privilege. It is the decision to persist when everything in you wants to give up. Persistence, fueled by a clear purpose, is the bridge between where you are and where you long to be. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the version of yourself that you secretly know you are meant to become. Strong, disciplined, full of confidence, aligned with a calling greater than your fears. That version of you already exists within. You don't have to create it. You only have to uncover it. But uncovering requires fire. It requires the willingness to burn away the excuses, the laziness, and the false stories you've told yourself for years. This is why purpose is everything. Without purpose, discipline feels like punishment. With purpose, discipline becomes devotion. Without purpose, challenges feel like walls. With purpose, challenges transform into stepping stones. Without purpose, you drift. With purpose, you command the winds of life. And purpose is not something you invent. It is something you discover by listening to the deepest voice inside you, the one that whispers even when the noise of the world tries to drown it out. Faith and purpose are inseparable. Faith is the fuel. Purpose is the direction. If you only have fuel without direction, you burn out in chaos. If you only have direction without fuel, you never start moving. But when faith ignites your purpose, you become unstoppable. That is why Napoleon Hill insisted that a definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. The moment you decide who you are, what you want, and why you will not settle for less, the universe itself begins to rearrange circumstances to match your decision. Do not think this is some vague spiritual theory. Look back on your own life. Every time you committed fully, when you truly decided that nothing would stop you, things shifted. Resources appeared, people showed up, doors opened. And every time you doubted, every time you hesitated, opportunities slipped through your fingers. Life responds to boldness, not hesitation. But here's the truth most people avoid. Boldness comes at a cost. You cannot rise to your higher self while clinging to your lower habits. You cannot embrace abundance while secretly worshiping fear. You cannot declare faith with your lips while nurturing doubt in your heart. Transformation is not comfortable. It will demand sacrifices of time, comfort, and sometimes even relationships that no longer serve your journey. But the reward is incomparable, a life aligned with the destiny you were created for. Think of a seed, buried in the dark soil, that must break apart before it can rise toward the sun. If the seed refuses to crack, it dies hidden beneath the earth. Your old self, the one addicted to excuses, fear, and procrastination, must break so that your higher self can emerge. That breaking is not punishment, it is liberation. Pain is the price of becoming. And yet, pain has a strange way of refining faith. When you face moments where nothing makes sense, where everything feels impossible, That is the exact point where your faith is tested. Faith is not believing when things are easy. Faith is standing firm when everything inside you screams to quit. Faith is choosing to believe in the invisible while the visible mocks you. And when you persist through that kind of faith, miracles unfold. Not always in the way you expect, but always in the way you need. Some people ask, but what if I fail? Let me answer that. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the training ground of success. Every setback carries a lesson, and every lesson prepares you for the victory that is coming. Napoleon Hill studied hundreds of the most successful people in history, and he found one common thread. None of them escaped failure. The difference was that they refused to let failure define them. They used it as fuel, as feedback, as proof that they were still in the game. So ask yourself today, are you willing to stop playing small? Are you willing to release the fears that have chained you for years? Are you willing to step into the version of yourself that is already waiting on the other side of discipline and persistence? The life you dream of is not some distant fantasy. It is already prepared for you, but it requires you to prepare yourself for it. That preparation begins now, in the quiet decision you make within your heart. Decide that you will no longer drift. Decide that you will live with faith, with purpose, and with persistence. Decide that your life will not be wasted on fear, but invested in service, love, and the pursuit of your divine calling. The clock is ticking. Time will not wait. You can either let another day pass in hesitation, or you can rise today as the person you were created to be. The power is already within you. The question is, will you awaken it? There's a voice inside you that has been silenced for too long. It is the voice that remembers your dreams, the voice that knows you were created for greatness, the voice that refuses to settle for mediocrity. But over the years, that voice has been drowned out by fear, by doubt, by the opinions of others. Teachers may have told you to be realistic. Friends may have mocked your ambition. Life itself may have handed you enough disappointments to convince you that your dreams were foolish. And yet, that voice remains. You can ignore it, but it will not die. Because it is not just your voice. It is the echo of your purpose calling you back to who you were meant to be. Listen carefully. Every time you feel restless, every time you sense that quiet dissatisfaction with the way things are, it is not weakness. It is a reminder that your spirit was not built to live small. You are not born to simply pay bills, chase comfort, and then fade away. You were born to express power, to create impact, to live with such conviction that your very existence leaves the world different than it found you. But here is the challenge. The world will constantly try to convince you otherwise. Society rewards conformity, not courage. It praises those who fit in, not those who break free. And so, if you want to live a life of greatness, you must be prepared to walk a path that few have the strength to follow. You must be prepared to endure loneliness, misunderstanding, and resistance. But those very hardships are proof that you are walking a path that matters. Napoleon Hill once said that most people never reach their goals because they quit at the first sign of defeat. Think about how many dreams have died, not because they were impossible, but because someone gave up too soon. The truth is, success often hides behind a door labeled temporary failure. Most people see that door, assume it is the end, and turn back. But the rare few, the ones who change history, are the ones who push through. They understand that failure is not the enemy. It is the initiation. Do not be deceived. Every setback, every delay, every disappointment has a hidden gift. It is shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you. You may think that life is holding you back, but in reality, life is training you to carry the weight of the destiny you asked for. If your dream is big, your preparation must be greater. And preparation often comes wrapped in struggle. This is why you cannot measure progress only by outward results. Sometimes, the most important victories happen in silence, deep within you, where no one else can see. Every time you resist the temptation to quit, you win. Every time you discipline yourself when no one is watching, you win. Every time you choose faith over fear, you win. Those invisible victories accumulate until suddenly the visible breakthrough arrives. And let me tell you something powerful. The breakthrough always comes, but only for those who refuse to give up. It may not arrive on your timeline, but it will arrive right on time. You are not being denied. You are being delayed, refined, prepared. Hold that truth close to your heart. Think of the greatest leaders, inventors, and visionaries the world has ever known. They were not superhuman. They felt fear. They faced obstacles. They made mistakes. But they shared one trait in common. They refused to let setbacks dictate their destiny. They persisted long enough for faith and purpose to manifest into reality. And you can do the same. You may not believe it fully yet, but deep down, your spirit knows it is true. There is a power inside you that has not even begun to be expressed. You have ideas, talents, and strengths that the world has not yet seen. But the world will never see them unless you choose to release them. That choice is yours and yours alone. No one can believe for you. No one can persist for you. No one can live your purpose for you. This is why accountability to yourself is the highest form of integrity. When you say you will do something and then you follow through, you're training your mind to trust your word. And when your mind trusts your word, nothing becomes impossible. But when you constantly break your own promises, when you say you will change but never do, you weaken your inner power. You train yourself to believe in failure before you even begin. So today, make a new covenant with yourself. Promise that you will no longer betray your own destiny. Promise that you will rise every time you fall. Promise that you will treat every obstacle as an invitation to grow stronger. Promise that you will never again abandon the voice inside that calls you to more. Faith without action is only fantasy. You cannot sit and wish for change. You must embody it. Speak your vision, yes. Write down, yes. But then act. Act boldly, even if you're trembling. Act consistently, even if results are slow. Act persistently, even if the world calls you crazy. Because action is the language of faith. The universe does not respond to your words alone. It responds to your movement. And here is the miracle of action. Once you move, life moves with you. Once you commit, resources appear. Once you persist, resistance weakens. Momentum builds, faith deepens, and purpose sharpens. That is the law. That is the secret that Napoleon Hill and countless others discovered. Your reality bends to the level of your persistence. So rise. Rise with courage. Rise with faith. Rise with the fire of purpose burning in your chest. The road will not be easy, but will be worth it. The world is waiting for the light you carry. And the longer you delay, the longer the world waits in darkness for what only you can bring. Do not let your story end in regret. Do not allow fear to write your destiny. Do not waste the gift of this one life by shrinking when you were created to expand. Stand tall, walk forward, and keep moving until every dream planted in your heart becomes a reality visible to the world. There is something inside you that has been waiting patiently year after year for the moment you finally decide to awaken. It is the potential you have carried since birth, untouched by failure, unharmed by disappointment, unbroken by fear. It is your higher self, the one that already knows how strong you can be, how disciplined you can become, how impactful your life can truly be. And yet, most people go to their graves without ever meeting that version of themselves. They bury their power beneath excuses, distractions, and the endless search for comfort. But comfort is a trap. Comfort tells you that survival is enough. Comfort whispers that tomorrow is guaranteed, that there is no urgency, that you can always start later. Comfort numbs you into believing that mediocrity is acceptable. But listen carefully. Every day you choose comfort over purpose, a piece of your destiny withers away. And one day, if you are not careful, you will wake up and realize that the life you dreamed of is no longer possible because time has passed and opportunity has slipped through your fingers. This is why urgency is sacred. Not panic, not anxiety, but urgency. the deep awareness that time is limited, that every breath is a gift, that every moment wasted is a moment you will never get back. Greatness requires urgency. Transformation requires urgency. You cannot wait until you feel ready, because readiness is a lie. You become ready by stepping forward when you still feel unprepared, and you grow into the person who can carry the vision. Napoleon Hill wrote that indecision is one of the greatest enemies of success. How many dreams have died because someone hesitated too long? How many ideas could have changed the world but never left someone's notebook because they were waiting for perfect conditions? The truth is, perfect conditions will never come. The stars will never align exactly the way you want. And that is by design, because your power is not proven when things are easy. It is proven when you act in spite of difficulty, in spite of imperfection, in spite of fear. Think about your own life. How many times have you delayed, telling yourself, "I'll start when I have more time," or "I'll begin when I feel more confident," or "I'll try when I have more resources"? And yet, months pass, years pass, and nothing changes. Deep down, you know this pattern. Deep down, you know the truth. The longer you wait, the weaker your faith becomes. Action strengthens faith. Hesitation weakens it. So here is the challenge. What if you decided today, right now, that waiting is over? What if you decided that you will no longer postpone your destiny? What if you declared with absolute certainty that this is the season when everything shifts? Because that is all it takes, a decision backed by relentless action. The moment you decide with clarity and conviction, you set in motion a force greater than anything you can see. That force is faith. That force is persistence. That force is the law of cause and effect working in your favor. You do not need to know every step of the journey. You do not need to see the entire path. All you need is to take the next step with faith, and then the next, and then the next. Clarity comes through movement, not through waiting. Strength is built through resistance, not through ease. Confidence is born through action, not through thought. Stop waiting for certainty. Create certainty through commitment. The world will test you. The moment you decide to rise, obstacles will appear, not to destroy you, but to refine you. Every challenge is a mirror, showing you the parts of yourself that still need growth. If you feel fear, it means courage is required. If you feel resistance, it means persistence must be strengthened. If you feel doubt, it means faith must be deepened. These obstacles are not punishments. They are invitations to become the person your destiny demands. Most people misunderstand faith. They think faith is just believing that things will eventually work out. But real faith is deeper. Real faith is believing so strongly that you act with conviction even when nothing in your circumstances gives you reason to believe. Real faith is planting seeds in barren soil and trusting that the harvest will come. Real faith is refusing to quit, not because you see the evidence, but because you know the evidence will follow your persistence. Look at every success story you admire. Behind the glory was a season of hidden struggle. Behind the spotlight was a season of silence, rejection, and persistence. Napoleon Hill himself interviewed men and women who endured poverty, humiliation, and endless setbacks before they found their breakthrough. What kept them going? Faith in their purpose, persistence in their action, and the refusal to accept defeat as final. Defeat is never final unless you surrender. And surrender is a choice. You can be beaten temporarily, but you cannot be defeated permanently unless you give consent. That is why Hill taught that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. But you must choose to find it. You must choose to extract wisdom from pain, strength from struggle, and growth from failure. If you do not, you waste the gift hidden inside the difficulty. So let me ask you, what story will you tell about your life? Will it be the story of someone who gave in to fear, who let excuses rule, who lived safe but small? Or will it be the story of someone who rose despite the odds, who chose faith over fear, who persisted until destiny bowed to their will? That choice is yours, and no one can make it for you. The clock keeps ticking. The future is not something you wait for. it is something you create. Every thought, every action, every decision is shaping your tomorrow. If you want a different future, you must think differently, act differently, believe differently. You must stop aligning with fear and start aligning with faith. You must stop feeding excuses and start feeding persistence. You must stop living as though you have unlimited time and start living with the urgency of one who knows every breath is sacred. There is greatness inside you, but it will not come out through wishing. It will not come out through waiting. It will only come out through discipline, persistence, and faith-driven action. Your purpose is calling. Your destiny is waiting. And the world needs what only you can bring. Do not delay. Do not drift. Rise. There is a fire within you that has never gone out. Maybe it has been reduced to embers. Maybe it has been hidden beneath layers of disappointment, fear, and routine, but it has never gone out. That fire is your desire, your burning purpose, the calling that whispers to you when the noise of the world finally fades. And until you honor that fire, you will always feel a quiet restlessness, a hunger that no amount of comfort can satisfy. Because you were not created to live lukewarm. You were created to burn with passion, with faith, with unstoppable determination. Napoleon Hill spoke often about the burning desire, the kind of desire that is not a mere wish or a vague hope, but a consuming obsession that refuses to let go. Without that burning desire, persistence will not last. Without it, discipline will crumble. Without it, faith will weaken. But with it, nothing can stop you. Desire is the seed. Faith is the water. Persistence is the sunlight. And together they grow the tree of success. Ask yourself honestly, what do you truly desire? Not what others expect of you, not what society tells you is realistic, but what your soul has been crying for in the quiet of the night. That desire is not random. It is a clue to your purpose. It is the compass pointing you toward the life you were meant to live. Ignore it, and you drift. Follow it, and you awaken. But desire alone is not enough. You must make a decision. Decision is the point where desire turns into destiny. Too many people live in indecision, always wanting, always dreaming, but never choosing. They wait for signs, they wait for permission, they wait for perfect conditions that will never come. And while they wait, life passes. Dreams die, regret grows. But the moment you decide, everything shifts. Decision is power. Decision is creation. Decision is the act of saying, I will no longer accept less than what I was created for. And when you decide, persistence becomes natural. Because decision creates identity. Once you decide that you are the kind of person who will never quit, who will always rise, who will always move forward, then quitting is no longer an option. Setbacks may slow you, but they cannot stop you. Failure may wound you, but it cannot define you. Decision anchors you in faith. The truth is, the greatest battle you will ever fight is not against the world. It is against yourself. It is against the voice of fear that whispers you are not enough. It is against the voice of doubt that says your dream is too big. It is against the voice of laziness that tempts you to settle for comfort instead of growth. And every time you silence those voices with action, with persistence, with faith, you strengthen your spirit and weaken their grip. Understand this. You are not weak. You are not powerless. You are not broken. The very fact that you are listening to these words proves that your spirit is still alive, still searching, still ready to rise. You may have been knocked down, but you have not been destroyed. You may have failed, but you are not a failure. The seed of greatness is still inside you, and it is waiting for you to believe again. Belief is everything. What you believe about yourself sets the boundaries of your life. If you believe you are small, you will live small. If you believe you are incapable, you will never try. If you believe you are destined for greatness, you will rise to it. And belief is not just a thought. It is a choice, reinforced by action, proven by persistence. The more you act in alignment with faith, the more your belief grows. And the stronger your belief, the greater your results. Napoleon Hill revealed that one of the most powerful forces in the world is the subconscious mind. It does not judge, it does not filter, it simply accepts what you feed it. If you feed it fear, doubt, and negativity, it will manifest failure and limitation. But if you feed it faith, vision, and determination, it will manifest opportunity, strength, and abundance. Your subconscious is the soil. Your thoughts are the seeds. What are you planting daily? Guard your mind, because it is the gatekeeper of your destiny. Stop repeating words of defeat. Stop imagining worst-case scenarios. Stop rehearsing failure in your thoughts. Instead, affirm faith. Visualize victory. Speak life into your future. Train your subconscious to expect success, and it will begin to attract the people, the resources, and the opportunities needed to fulfill that expectation. This is not magic. It is law. What you impress upon your mind consistently, you will eventually express in your life. But remember this: persistence is the bridge between belief and manifestation. You can believe, you can visualize, you can affirm, but if you quit at the first obstacle, nothing will happen. Persistence is the evidence of true belief. If you truly believe, you will persist. If you do not persist, it is because deep down you do not believe. So test your faith through persistence. Show your belief through action. Prove your conviction through endurance. There will be days when it feels impossible. Days when results are invisible. Days when you question everything. And those are the most important days of all, because those are the days that shape you. Those are the days that separate the ones who dream from the ones who achieve. Anyone can persist when progress is obvious. But true greatness is born in those who persist when progress is hidden. So rise in those moments. Speak to yourself with authority. Remind yourself of your decision. Remind yourself of your burning desire. Remind yourself that faith is stronger than fear. And keep moving, step by step, day by day. Persist, because persistence always wins. One day, you will look back and realize that every struggle was worth it, that every moment of discipline, every act of faith, every hour of persistence led you here, to the life you once only dreamed of. And when that day comes, you will not regret the sacrifices. You will only regret that you did not start sooner. Do not underestimate the quiet power of consistency. Greatness is rarely born in a single moment. It is forged in the invisible grind, in the daily decisions, in the hours when no one is watching. Consistency is not glamorous, but it is undefeated. Anyone can be motivated for a day, but persistence over weeks, months, and years is what separates legends from the forgotten. Think about it. Water is soft, but it carves through rock by persistence. The sun rises every day, and by its consistency, it brings life to the world. Even the greatest athletes, leaders, and visionaries did not arrive at mastery overnight. They practiced relentlessly, day after day, long after others gave up. That is the secret. Not talent, not luck, but consistency fueled by faith and burning desire. Napoleon Hill observed that success often comes just one step beyond the point of greatest frustration. How many people quit just before the breakthrough? How many walked away when the harvest was about to arrive? If they had only persisted one more day, one more step, everything would have changed. That is why you cannot allow yourself to give up when progress feels slow. The delay is not denial. The silence is not rejection. It is preparation. It is life testing whether your desire is strong enough to deserve the reward. You may wonder why life demands such persistence. Why can't success come easily? The answer is simple. If it came easily, you would not be strong enough to keep it. Easy success creates weak character, and weak character loses what it gains. Struggle, persistence, and discipline shape you into someone capable of carrying greatness. You are not just pursuing a dream. You are becoming the person worthy of it. Every act of persistence rewrites your identity. Every time you rise after falling, you prove to yourself that you are not fragile. Every time you push through resistance, you remind yourself that fear cannot control you. Every time you keep going when others would quit, you step deeper into the identity of an unstoppable force. An identity is destiny. Once you truly know that you are the kind of person who never quits, The universe has no choice but to bend in your favor. But beware of the enemies that seek to steal your persistence. The first is distraction. In today's world, distraction is everywhere. Your phone, endless entertainment, meaningless conversations, shallow pursuits. Distraction steals your time, your focus, your energy. If you are not ruthless about protecting your attention, your persistence will wither. Guard your mind. Guard your hours. Guard your focus as though your destiny depends on it, because it does. The second enemy is doubt. Doubt whispers that you are wasting your time. Doubt insists that you are not good enough. Doubt tries to convince you that the dream is too far, too impossible, too unrealistic. But doubt is a liar. Doubt feeds on hesitation. The only way to silence doubt is through decisive action. Move boldly and doubt weakens. Wait passively and doubt grows. The third enemy is discouragement. Even the strongest souls face days when the weight feels unbearable. But remember this: discouragement is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that you are stretching beyond your limits. Growth hurts. Expansion feels uncomfortable. But discouragement only has power if you allow it to stop you. Feel it, acknowledge it, and then persist anyway. Because persistence turns discouragement into resilience. And the fourth enemy is delay. Delay convinces you that you can always start tomorrow, that there is no urgency, that time is abundant. But time is not abundant. Time is life. Every day wasted is a day you can never retrieve. Delay is the slow poison that kills more dreams than failure ever could. If you want to defeat delay, you must live with urgency. Do not wait. Do not postpone. Begin now. When you defeat distraction, doubt, discouragement, and delay, persistence becomes unstoppable. And with unstoppable persistence, faith deepens. With faith, purpose sharpens. With purpose, destiny manifests. This is the formula. This is the law. This is the truth that has built empires, transformed lives, and created legacies. You are capable of this. You are not excluded from greatness. You are not disqualified by your past, by your mistakes, or by your failures. Every weakness can be strengthened. Every failure can be redeemed. Every pain can be transformed. But only if you persist. The door to your destiny is locked with persistence, and only those willing to keep knocking will see it open. Think of the alternative. A life lived in hesitation. A life lived in fear. A life where dreams are buried beneath excuses. Picture yourself years from now, looking back with regret, whispering, "I could have been more. I could have done more. I could have lived more." That is the tragedy of those who quit too soon. But that does not have to be your story. You can choose persistence. You can choose faith. You can choose to burn with purpose until the life you desire becomes the life you live. And when that happens, when your persistence bears fruit, remember this: your success is not only for you. It is for every person who will be inspired by your story. It is for every life you will touch, every soul you will encourage, every dream you will awaken in others. Your persistence becomes a beacon of hope, a living testimony that faith, purpose, and discipline are stronger than fear, doubt, and delay. That is legacy. That is impact. That is why your persistence matters far more than you realize. So rise again. Persist again. Believe again. Because your destiny is closer than you think. There will come a day when you will look back and thank yourself for not quitting. You will remember the nights you cried in silence, the mornings you woke up tired but kept moving, the times when you felt invisible and forgotten, yet you persisted. And in that moment, you will realize that nothing was wasted. Every struggle, every tear, every setback was a brick in the foundation of your destiny. This is the paradox of persistence. While you are in it, it feels endless, painful, and invisible. But when you overcome it, you see that it was the very thing that shaped you into who you are meant to be. The breakthrough was never separate from the struggle. It was hidden inside it. Your persistence is not just carrying you to the finish line. It is transforming you along the way. Napoleon Hill said that strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle. It is in the fire that steel is forged. It is in resistance that muscles grow. It is in adversity that character is born. So do not despise the struggle. Do not curse the resistance. Do not fear the fire. These are the tools shaping you into the strongest, boldest, and most faithful version of yourself. But let me remind you of something crucial. Persistence without vision can become drudgery. You must always keep your eyes on the dream, on the burning desire that set you on this path in the first place. When you lose sight of your why, persistence feels like punishment. But when you remember your why, persistence becomes passion. Hold that vision close. See in your mind every morning, every night. Speak it, write it, live it until it becomes more real to you than your current circumstances. This is why imagination is sacred. Your mind is the workshop where your destiny is built. Everything you will ever create, every achievement you will ever reach, begins first as an image in your imagination. If you can hold it in your mind with faith, you can hold it in your hands with persistence. Guard your imagination fiercely. Do not allow fear to paint your future. Do not allow doubt to distort your vision. Feed your imagination with faith, with images of victory, with affirmations of abundance, with the certainty that your purpose will manifest. Faith, purpose, imagination, persistence. These are the cornerstones of transformation. But there is one more, often overlooked: discipline. Discipline is love for your future self. Discipline is proof that you honor your destiny more than your comfort. Discipline is the daily decision to do what is hard, to choose what is necessary, to act even when you do not feel like it. Without discipline, desire is wasted. Without discipline, persistence collapses. Without discipline, faith is just a word. So train yourself in discipline. Wake up earlier than excuses. Focus longer than distractions. Work harder than laziness. And most importantly, be consistent even when no one is applauding you. Because discipline creates momentum, and momentum makes persistence easier. You may ask, but what if I fail again? Then you rise again. What if I fall again? Then you rise again. What if it takes years? Then you persist for years. Because time will pass anyway. The question is, will you look back with regret, or will you look back with gratitude that you stayed the course? Life is short. You do not have forever. One day your breath will stop. One day your opportunities will end. And on that day, all that will matter is whether you lived with faith, with courage, with purpose, with persistence. The money, the possessions, the applause, none of it will follow you. But the impact you made, the lives you touched, the legacy you built, that will echo beyond your years. And here is the truth. You are capable of far more than you believe. The limits you feel are not real. They are illusions built by fear, reinforced by doubt, and accepted by habit. But illusions dissolve when you confront them with action. Every time you step into fear, you discover it was smaller than it appeared. Every time you act in faith, you expand your capacity. Every time you persist, you prove that limits are only temporary walls waiting to be broken. So ask yourself, what would happen if you gave everything you had, every ounce of your faith, every drop of your persistence, every breath of your discipline for the next year? How different would your life look? How much closer would you be to the person you were created to become? Do not underestimate the compound effect of daily persistence. One disciplined day may not change your life, but 100 disciplined days will. One bold decision may not transform your world, but 1,000 bold decisions will. Small actions, repeated with persistence, create unstoppable momentum. The river carves the canyon not through force, but through persistence. And so will you. Napoleon Hill studied the giants of his era, and the conclusion was always the same. The ones who achieved greatness were not the most talented, the most intelligent, or the most privileged. They were the ones who persisted the longest, who believed the strongest, who refused to quit no matter the odds. That same power is available to you. It is not locked away from ordinary people. It is within you now, waiting for your decision to awaken it. So decide today. Decide that fear will not rule you. Decide that doubt will not limit you. Decide that distraction will not control you. Decide that persistence will define you. Because once you decide, nothing outside of you has the power to stop you. You are stronger than you know. You are braver than you feel. You are closer than you think. Keep moving. Keep believing. Keep persisting. The fire is still burning, and your destiny is still waiting. The journey you are on is not just about reaching goals. It is about becoming. Every step you take, every obstacle you face, every act of persistence is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more unshakable. Success is not something you chase. It is something you attract by the person you become. And the person you are becoming is forged in persistence, tempered in faith, and sharpened by discipline. Napoleon Hill taught that definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement. Without a clear purpose, persistence is scattered. Without a clear purpose, discipline feels empty. Without a clear purpose, faith has no anchor. But when you align with a definite purpose, everything changes. Your decisions gain power. Your persistence gains direction. Your faith gains focus. Purpose is the compass. Faith is the fuel. Persistence is the bridge. Discipline is the engine. And imagination is the blueprint. When these forces unite, you become unstoppable. But purpose alone is not found in self-indulgence. True purpose always extends beyond yourself. It is about impact, about service, about leaving the world better than you found it. When your purpose is only about you, it burns out quickly. But when your purpose is tied to lifting others, to inspiring others, to serving something greater than yourself, it becomes inexhaustible. That is why the greatest lives are not the ones filled only with riches or fame. They're the ones filled with legacy. So ask yourself, what is the impact you want your life to leave? Who will be touched by your persistence? Whose life will be changed because you refuse to quit? Legacy is not built in a day. It is built in daily persistence. Every decision you make today is a seed planted in the garden of your legacy. Do not underestimate this. Someone is watching you. Someone is waiting for your courage. Someone is hoping that you will succeed because your success will give them permission to believe it is possible for them too. That is the hidden power of persistence. It multiplies. Your faith strengthens others' faith. Your victory inspires others' victories. Your persistence becomes a torch that lights the path for countless others. And this is why quitting is not just about you. When you quit, you do not only silence your own destiny. You silence the destinies of those who are meant to be inspired by you. You rob not only yourself, but the countless lives connected to your example. That is the true cost of giving up. But when you persist, you create ripples of courage that spread further than you can imagine. Think about the heroes you admire. Most of them you have never met, yet their lives inspire you. Why? Because persistence creates a story that outlives the individual. Their victories speak across time, across cultures, across generations. That is the power of a life lived with faith and persistence. And you, too, have the ability to write such a story with your own life. But persistence does not mean forcing everything in your own strength. There is a spiritual dimension that cannot be ignored. Faith connects you to a higher power, to divine timing, to guidance greater than your own logic. Persistence aligned with faith is unstoppable because it is not just you working. It is God, the universe, the invisible forces of creation aligning with your decision. When you pray, when you affirm, when you visualize, when you persist, you are partnering with the unseen. That is why miracles happen at the edge of persistence. When you have done everything you can, and you still refuse to give up, that is when the unseen steps in. That is when breakthroughs happen. That is when doors open you could not have forced open by yourself. But you must endure long enough to reach that point. Too many give up right before the miracle. They quit just before the tide turns. They let discouragement steal the harvest they had already sown. Do not let that be you. Hold on. Persist. Believe. Because the breakthrough is always closer than it feels. Let me remind you, your thoughts are not powerless. They are seeds. Every persistent thought of faith is a seed of destiny. Every persistent thought of doubt is a seed of defeat. You must guard your thoughts as you would guard your most precious treasure. Fill your mind daily with faith, with affirmations of strength, with visions of victory. Do not let fear dominate your imagination. Fear imagines worst-case scenarios. Faith imagines breakthroughs. Choose faith. And once again, persist. Persist when it is hard. Persist when it is quiet. Persist when it is lonely. Persist when nothing seems to change. Because persistence guarantees transformation, not only in your circumstances, but in you. The real victory is not just what you achieve, but who you become in the process. There will be days when persistence feels heavy. On those days, return to your purpose. Remember your why. Visualize the people who will be impacted by your victory. Picture the freedom, the abundance, the joy that will come when you fulfill your destiny. Let that vision fuel you when motivation runs dry. Because motivation fades, but vision sustains. And always remember, discipline is love. Every time you discipline yourself, you're showing love to your future self. You are saying, I will not abandon you. I will not rob you of the life you deserve. I will sacrifice comfort now so that you can live with freedom later. That is love in action. So keep walking, keep believing, keep persisting. The fire within you is not going out. It is only growing stronger. And as you persist, as you discipline yourself, as you hold the vision, you will become unstoppable. Not because life is easy, but because you are unbreakable. There will always be voices trying to tell you that you cannot do it. Some of those voices will come from the outside. Family, friends, coworkers, even strangers who cannot see your vision. But the most dangerous voice is the one inside, the one that whispers doubt when no one else is around. That voice says you are not ready, not qualified, not strong enough. It repeats the lies you have been told, the failures you have experienced, the insecurities you have carried for years. But let me tell you the truth. You do not have to silence that voice completely. You only have to speak louder. Speak with faith. Speak with conviction. Speak with persistence. When doubt says you can't, respond with, I will. When fear says it's too late, respond with, now is my time. When failure says you're finished, respond with, this is only the beginning. Words have power. The voice you choose to believe will shape the future you experience. Napoleon Hill said that every adversity carries within it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. That means nothing is wasted. Every setback, every failure, every painful season is carrying a gift, if you are willing to persist long enough to discover it. Look back on your life. The hardest times often taught you the most. The moments that broke you also rebuilt you into someone stronger. The pain you hated became the foundation of your wisdom. So why doubt now? Why assume that this struggle will not also give birth to something powerful? Persistence is faith in action. Faith says, I believe. Persistence proves it. Faith without persistence is only words. But persistence demonstrates to life, to the universe, to yourself that you mean it. Persistence is faith with legs. This is why quitting is so destructive. Quitting is not just about stopping an action. It is about killing faith. The moment you quit, you teach your subconscious mind that you cannot be trusted. You tell yourself that your words are empty, that your dreams are disposable. And the more you quit, the weaker your faith becomes. But the more you persist, the stronger your faith grows. Persistence builds confidence because it trains your subconscious mind to believe, I am someone who always finishes what I start. That identity is unshakable. So here's a challenge. Decide right now that quitting is no longer an option. Remove it from your vocabulary. Erase it from your identity. No matter how long it takes, no matter how many times you fall, no matter how many setbacks come your way, you will persist. With that decision, you have already won, because nothing can defeat the one who refuses to quit. Purpose is what fuels this kind of persistence. If your goal is shallow, you will quit easily. If your vision is only about comfort or applause, you will not last. But if your purpose is tied to your soul, to your calling, to something greater than yourself, you will endure anything. Purpose gives pain meaning. Purpose turns sacrifice into joy. Purpose transforms obstacles into opportunities. With purpose, even suffering becomes sacred because you know it is shaping you for the destiny you were created to fulfill. But purpose alone must be supported by discipline. You cannot say you want freedom and then live in chains to laziness. You cannot say you want abundance and then waste every opportunity. You cannot say you want greatness and then live small every day. Discipline is proof of your desire. Discipline is the fire that keeps persistence alive. And discipline is not about perfection. It is about consistency. Small steps, taken daily, create unstoppable momentum. 1 hour of discipline repeated daily is more powerful than 1 day of extreme effort followed by weeks of nothing. Persistence thrives on rhythm. Build routines that align with your destiny. Protect your mornings. Guard your evenings. Fill your mind with faith and your time with purposeful action. Over weeks, over months, over years, these small disciplines compound into greatness. And remember, persistence is not just about what you do, but also about what you refuse to do. Refuse to waste time. Refuse to dwell on negativity. Refuse to settle for less than your calling. Refuse to allow fear to dictate your choices. Persistence is as much about saying no to distraction as it is about saying yes to discipline. The world may not understand you. Some will laugh. Some will doubt. Some will call you obsessed. But obsession with purpose is not madness. It is mastery. Every great person in history was once called crazy for persisting beyond what others thought possible. Do not expect applause in the beginning. Do not expect validation from the crowd. Persistence requires walking alone before you ever walk celebrated. But if you persist, the same people who doubted you will one day point to you as proof that it can be done. And when that day comes, you will realize something powerful. It was never about proving them wrong. It was always about proving yourself right. It was always about honoring the voice inside you that knew you were capable of more. It was always about fulfilling the purpose that was planted in you before you were even born. So keep going. Keep persisting. Keep burning with desire, anchored in faith, disciplined in action, unshakable in purpose. Because your destiny is not a question, it is a decision. And every day you persist, you are deciding again and again to rise into the life you were created for. The greatest enemy of your destiny is not failure. It is surrender. Failure is temporary, but surrender makes it permanent. Every person who has ever achieved something extraordinary has failed, sometimes countless times. But what separated them from the rest was simple. They refused to surrender. They refused to let failure define them. They understood that defeat is only a detour, never the destination. Napoleon Hill discovered in his study of successful people that most of them reached their greatest accomplishments just one step beyond the point of greatest difficulty. That means your darkest moment, the season when everything seems impossible, is often the doorway to your breakthrough. But most people turn back at the threshold. They give up when they're inches away from victory. Do not let that be your story. When everything in you wants to quit, push one more step. That one step could be the difference between a life of regret and a life of destiny. Persistence is not glamorous. It is often quiet, invisible, thankless. It looks like waking up early when no one notices. It looks like working late while others are asleep. It looks like sacrificing comfort for discipline, applause for consistency, quick pleasure for long-term vision. Persistence rarely feels good in the moment, but it always feels powerful in hindsight. The results you dream of are not born in bursts of inspiration. They are born in the ordinary rhythm of persistence. And yet, persistence is never wasted. Even when results are delayed, even when progress is invisible, something is happening. Every act of persistence strengthens your mind, deepens your faith, sharpens your character. You may not see it now, but persistence is transforming you from the inside out. And when the results finally arrive, you will realize you are not the same person who started the journey. You are stronger, wiser, and ready to carry the weight of success. But here is the danger. Comfort will always try to pull you back. Comfort will whisper, "You've done enough. You deserve a break." You don't need to keep pushing. Comfort feels safe, but kills dreams. Comfort is the graveyard of potential. Every time you choose comfort over persistence, you're choosing to stay the same instead of becoming who you were created to be. Do not trade your destiny for temporary comfort. Instead, choose growth. Growth is uncomfortable, but it is alive. Growth stretches you, tests you, forces you to expand. And the more you grow, the more capable you become of fulfilling your purpose. Growth is proof that you are still moving forward, that you're still alive with passion, that you're still willing to fight for your destiny. The path of persistence will not always be easy. You will face criticism. You will face setbacks. You will face loneliness. But remember this, those are signs you're on the right path. The crowd chooses comfort. The chosen choose persistence. The crowd lives small. The chosen live with purpose. The crowd gives up. The chosen rise again. Do not envy the crowd. Their lives end in regret. Stand with the chosen, and your life will end in legacy. And let us speak of legacy. Legacy is not built in a single achievement. It is built in persistent consistency over time. Legacy is not about what you gain, but what you give. It is not about what you keep, but what you leave. Legacy is the ripple effect of your persistence. The lives you touch, the courage you inspire, the impact that outlives you. And legacy is built now, in the daily decision to persist when it would be easier to quit. You may think your persistence is only about your own life, but it is bigger than that. Someone is waiting for your story. Someone will draw strength from your example. Someone will believe in themselves because you refuse to stop believing in yourself. Your persistence is not just for you. It is for every soul connected to you. So rise again. Keep moving. Hold the vision. Burn with desire. Anchor yourself in faith. Discipline your actions. And persist until your destiny becomes reality. Because the world is not waiting for perfection. It is waiting for persistence. The truth is this. You already have everything you need inside you. The strength, the faith, the purpose, the persistence, they are all within. You do not need permission. You do not need validation. You do not need someone else to approve your dream. You only need to decide. Decide to believe. Decide to act. Decide to persist. Decide that quitting will never again be an option. And if you do, life will bend in your favor. Opportunities will appear. Breakthroughs will unfold. Doors will open. Not because life suddenly got easier, but because you persisted long enough to unlock the rewards that were already waiting for you. So let today be the day you draw a line in the sand. The day you decide that no matter what happens, you will persist. The day you stop living as though you have unlimited time and start living with urgency. The day you stop waiting for motivation and start acting from discipline. The day you step fully into your purpose and refuse to settle for anything less than the destiny you were created for. This is your moment. This is your calling. This is your life. Persist. There comes a moment in every life when the decision must be made once and for all. Will you live by faith or by fear? Will you persist or will you surrender? Will you fulfill your purpose or will you abandon it? That decision cannot be postponed forever. Each day you choose. Each action reveals your choice. And the truth is, every small decision of persistence is shaping the destiny you are walking into. Napoleon Hill reminded us that the starting point of all achievement is desire. But desire alone is not enough. It must be backed by faith, sustained by persistence, directed by purpose, and executed with discipline. This is the formula that has changed lives, built empires, created legacies. And this formula is not reserved for the elite. It is available to you right now, in this very moment. Look at your own life. Everything you have endured, everything you have overcome, everything you have learned has brought you to this point. You're not here by accident. You're not listening to these words by chance. You are here because your spirit is ready to rise. You are here because the next chapter of your life requires a new level of persistence, faith, and purpose. Do not shrink back. Do not settle. Do not waste this opportunity. The clock is ticking, and your destiny is waiting. You may not get another chance. You may not have unlimited time, What you do now will echo for the rest of your life. Picture yourself at the end of your journey, standing at the edge of eternity, looking back on your life. What story will you tell? Will it be a story of excuses, of hesitation, of dreams abandoned? Or will it be a story of courage, of persistence, of faith that refused to quit? That story is not written yet. It is being written right now in the choices you make today. And remember this, your purpose is not only about you. Your life is a message, and someone desperately needs to hear it. Your persistence will give them courage. Your victory will give them hope. Your faith will awaken their own. That is why you cannot quit. The world is waiting for what only you can bring. If you do not rise, the world will miss a piece of its light. So rise. Rise with faith burning in your chest. Rise with persistence unshakable in your spirit. Rise with discipline guiding your steps. Rise with purpose lighting your path. Rise not tomorrow, not someday, but today. Because today is all you have. Today is your gift. Today is your chance to live the life you were created for. Do not waste it. Do not delay. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Step forward now, in faith, in courage, in persistence. And as you do, watch how life begins to align. Watch how doors begin to open. Watch how strength begins to rise inside you. Because persistence is magnetic. It attracts the resources, the opportunities, and the people needed to fulfill your destiny. One day, you will look back and realize that every sacrifice was worth it. That every tear watered the soil of your success. That every moment of doubt, when met with persistence, became a stepping stone to victory. That every delay prepared you for the abundance that was waiting. And in that moment, you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that faith, purpose, discipline, and persistence never fail. Napoleon Hill's message echoes across time because it is not just about success. It is about transformation. It is about unlocking the person you were always meant to be. That person is already inside you. Strong, courageous, disciplined, unstoppable. All that is left is for you to decide. Decide to persist. Decide to believe. Decide to rise. This is your call. This is your moment. This is your destiny. Do not let it pass. Do not live small when you were created for greatness. Do not die with your song still inside you. Sing it now, with persistence as your melody, with faith as your rhythm, with purpose as your lyrics, with discipline as your harmony. Live your destiny loudly, boldly, unapologetically, because the world needs your light. The world needs your story. The world needs your persistence. So step forward. Keep going. Burn with desire. Anchor in faith. Walk in discipline. And persist until the impossible becomes inevitable. This is the life you were created for. This is the power that has always been within you. This is your hour. Persist.